good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon review for July 7th, 2019, with your host, Spacewarrior2448, and Wrap It Up Salon.
Hi.
We're doing O's belatedly. Kind of.
Yeah.
According to the new schedule, we're only, like a day late?
A week and a day, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, today we're taking a look at episode 17 through 20 of O's. Picking up with Date's introduction and picking up with the show proper after last week's Watch a Movie War Core. Yay. But, how caught up are you on Geo? Out of curiosity.
I feel like I've watched the most recently subbed one, but I might be wrong.
What episode is that?
I don't know. I've about forgot to just even pay attention to Geo anymore. I've gotten to that point.
Did it start with Sogo trying to beat up Oma Geo?
I did at least watch that one, yes.
Okay, so you're caught up to last week's. Question is, are you caught up to this week's episode? Which had Kaito get whammied and get Time Jacker powers.
No.
Okay, then. Okay, so we're on the same boat, because I haven't watched that episode either, even though it's been subbed all day.
Really? Someone's gotten it out quicker then.
Writer Tom subs, actually. They've been getting it out on Sundays. But I did watch the Raw of it. And like I said, yeah, Kaito got whammied by Schwartz when he tried to steal the another Geo2 ride watch, and that turned him bad and gave him Time Tracker powers. So he stole the Grand Geo ride watch instead. I can just imagine this just stare of like, what? But it gets better, because you know how the whole timeline reset has caused Gates to be all murder Sogo again?
Yeah.
Well, they're better now this week, but you know what he forgot to do when he decided to pick up Sogo in saving him from another Geo2?
What?
He also forgot to pick up Tsukiyomi when he was flying away, and then she got chased by another riders, and they didn't catch up to her fast enough, so she got captured. Because Gates forgot to pick her up, too, when he was leaving with Sogo. Bravo, Gates. Bravo, you dumbass. You literal dumbass. So yeah, that's about that episode in a nutshell. Also, they did the whole re-reveal of Tsukiyomi being Schwartz's sister. And that's the cliffhanger.
The, I guess, technically actual reveal? Since it was only assumed before? Because, you know, they failed to actually say anything.
Well, it's for realsies this time. Even though we already knew that information, so it was, like, pointless.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah. Geo spins its wheels this week, and I just shake my head and go, why? Why?
Because reason.
Yep. Oh, in better news, I picked up the Ruby novel. off Amazon. I'm only 2 chapters in, though. I haven't got a chance to read more. Okay, I'm technically 3 chapters in because there's a prologue. Or no, I'm 2 chapters in. Because I haven't hit chapter 2 yet. Let me rephrase that. I am actually only 2 chapters. As I counted the prologue as a chapter. But for reference, it's, I believe, a year later. Let me check real quick. They say it right at the beginning. I believe it's a year later from the end of Volume 3. And you're following Team Coffee, which was Coco Velvet, Fox, and Yadarushi? I forget how to pronounce his name. The 4 of them in Vacuo. But you do get some flashback stuff. Chapter 2 looks to be a flashback to how Team Coffee first formed. But it's nice read so far. The only spoiler I've gotten in terms of the book was a thing I saw on Tumblr that just showed a section of a small little section of the book that confirmed that Ruby made all her clothes herself.
Well then.
Like her Volume 1 outfit, she made herself. That she didn't buy any of it, really. Which I would have bet on the cloak, but not the entire outfit, but okay. So, yeah. That will be hopefully read through before the week's over. Any quick thoughts before we hit the recap on these 4 episodes?
No.
All right. These originally aired January 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th of 2011, respectively, going down the list. So this is our January batch of episodes, pretty much. And we kick things off with episode 17, The Kendo Girl, Odin, and the Splitting Yummy. We kick off where we left off for us 2 weeks ago, for the show itself last week, with Date introducing himself by pretty much saying, who needs a manual, even though he has a literal manual for being birthed.
Yeah.
Like, with names and pictures and everything. Ankh extremely does not like him, especially after he mispronounces his name. I forget what the mispronunciation is.
I can't remember right offhand.
Edgy is in the middle with the guy, mostly because he doesn't have a sense of who he is right now. We really don't by the end of these episodes. Date is more or less going to be evolving over the course of the next few episodes. Like, we're not going to know the full picture of Date just yet. We got bits and pieces, but we'll get there. Date ends up giving some cell medals to Edgy as a I'm here now gift, I guess. And that's pretty much our cold open. Back from the opening, we see that Chiyoko is back from Egypt because she was on a trip to Egypt at some point. I guess we had a bit of a time skip.
That's the only thing I can think of is time skip.
Yeah. She's back from Egypt. She asks if Veggie She asks if Veggie is going to go on a trip, and he says probably not. Which she replies of, that's what people say when they definitely are not going to go on a trip, which, Edgy has his reasons, which we know. So, yeah. Hina actually ends up giving a gift to him and has one for Ankh, but Ankh is being a dick, as usual, so he does not get his just yet. Especially since he just barges past her and just takes Edgy, and they go talk about Date. Because Ankh is extremely not amused about the current status quo of Date in play. We do see what Edgy's gift is, and it's a red scar. Extreme foreshadowing for 3 episodes from now.
Yeah.
Like some extreme foreshadowing. Meanwhile, Date is off getting lunch because I guess it's his lunch break at the moment. We cut to a dojo after that. We see 2 girls are doing a competition or doing a fight with kendo sticks. One of them ends up winning, or the one in white ends up losing. And she ends up being the one that gets whammied by Uva to make the yummy. Eventually, not right at the moment. For some of these, I'm more or less condensing certain storyline or certain lines into this is what happens because we cut back and forth between several of them. We also see that Date is in town and he's here to earn money, specifically 100 million yen. I'm just going to spoil you that right now. He's here to get 100 million yen. Would you care to guess why?
Why?
Oh, well, I was hoping you give an actual guess because I'm not going to say it because that's a spoiler. Oh. He has a. I'll put it this way: he has an extremely good reason for wanting 100 million yen.
I wouldn't know right offhand.
All right. The yummy that gets popped out of the kendo girl attracts our riders because it's attacking dojo because it wants to be stronger. Enji ends up fighting it, but it's quite tanky and quite made out of metal, I guess, because he's hurting his hands and his knees and stuff. So that's proving a problem. The girl ends up trying to stop the yummy, but she gets knocked away and injured for her efforts because she's not going to have a good 2 episodes at the moment. The yummy ends up running off at this point, and Date is late to the party, but he is off to investigate because he's actually going to be 1 step ahead of our riders this time around because he's actually going to just quietly spy on her to figure out stuff. At the hospital, Eiji talks with the girl, try to get some more information about her desire. Not very helpful at the moment. So we don't get anything super new. Date, meanwhile, is like around the corner with his 50-gallon milk can of metals, doing his best to be stealthy with his, I say once more, 50-gallon milk can of metals that rattle whenever he tries to move it. That, by the way, is also full of metals, so it is extremely loud. I am not sure how he snuck up on them.
I'm not sure how he can put more in.
I honestly don't know. I don't know why he chose a milk can to start. Meanwhile, we see Goto is on a run. As we see the extension of the scene from before when Maki offered him birth, and he said no, because fuck Maki, I'm not working for you to get power. And he's a bit downtrodden by this because he might have given up his chance at, having a power to be able to save the world. Which, to be honest, considering the later events, is probably a good thing he did.
By later events, you mean later events within these 2 episodes or later events within the series?
Later events within the series.
Okay.
No, I mean later events within...
There is a funny moment that, I have to feel like Date might have actually won me over in the next 2-parter kind of deal.
Like, I'll be upfront with this. Some of the things about O's got rewritten during the course of the show because Date is extremely popular. So you know how Kaito got like the Genesis driver and the limit energy arms just out of nowhere, even though it seems like it's kind of just a thing that they did?
And how that was kind of done because of popularity.
Yep.
Because they
Date's the same
no
way.
intentions of that.
Yep. Yeah, Date's the exact same way. He gets to be a critical part of the show because of how popular he is. And it's also a reason why, if you look at any ancillary media that has come out after O's, for instance, like the Battle Ride War games, the Climax Heroes games, like any of the video game stuff, you'll find that the birth that is represented in that material is Date birth, not Goto birth. And you either get both of them represented or just Date. And most of the time it seems to be just Date. The original Climax Heroes games actually gave you both. I think the All Rider games that were on 3DS also gave you both as well. But Climax Fighters and the Battle Ride War games, nope, just Date. Which is extremely weird considering later events, to be honest. I think I've already spoiled. Did I spoil like Goto's role in birth later on in the series when we talked about Movie War Core? I want to say I did.
Might have, but I don't remember if you did, so...
I want to say I said that Goto will be birthed by the time, the extension over time part. Okay, yeah. I'm like, yeah, Goto will be birthed at some point.
Which I'm pretty positive that at some point I kind of knew that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when it came up, when I actually knew about that kind of deal.
Alright. But anyway, back to the episode. We're back at the Coast Cashier, where Unk gets his present, which is the medal holder from Movie War Core. Several episodes late to be in canon to be Movie War Core, but here it is. Also, that's Unk's book, not Edgy's book, but fuck it, whatever. Movie War Core continuity is dumb.
Well, let's be honest. There's so much wrong to even attempt to place that in the continuity.
Yeah. I also love how there are more slots than there would be for them to have medals for over the course of the entire series.
Yeah.
I believe it, what is it, like a 3x5? Or no, it's a 5x3. Because there's 5 rows and 3 columns, right?
I think.
Boop. Of course you don't. Of course you don't give me an image of it open. You give me an image of it closed.
Second set of episodes. There was an image where Kazari had it in his hand.
Oh, I was just gonna Google it because they actually released it as a thing you could buy.
Well, the reason I was saying is that would be probably the easiest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 5x3. Spoilers, there would only be 5 combos saved in that book. Like that second half of the page would not be filled with anything except cell metals, and I don't know why it would be filled with cell metals outside of what happens later.
Yeah. But but even with that, the entire book was filled with cell metals with that thing.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Yeah, Hina hopes that Ankh likes it, even though they're not on the best of terms most of the time. And Ankh does like it because he immediately starts putting medals in it and organizing it and everything. And I'm like, aw, he likes the book.
This would be the point where Ankh would be like, I don't like the book, it's just helpful.
Yeah. We see the Yummy continue to attack random people who do kendo because it wants to be stronger. It evolves, and Edgy is once more fighting it with some gorilla arms to punch it, so it can like actually do damage this time. But once they put it on the back foot, it starts glowing green, and Ankh is even freaked out about this. Like, what the fuck is it doing? What does it do? This is not normal. And then it spawns a friend. Which, for reference, the first one I believe is a Hercules beetle yummy, and the other one is a stag beetle yummy. Because there is a thing in Japan about Hercules beetles and stag beetles being rivals and stuff, so when you see one, you see the other all the time. So it spawns a friend who wants to destroy stuff. And it's just as tough. So Edgy is now back into a quarter because there's now two of them, which is a problem. Until Date shows up. On time this time. And he transforms and just starts shooting cell metals at them with his gun. And he does it extremely carelessly because who needs a goddamn manual?
And he got the important things out of the manual. You know.
Yeah.
Like the name of the armor and Edgy and Ox names. And yeah, that was all he needed.
Yep.
But I have to feel like he has actually read it. But he refuses to let on like he did.
Oh, I assure you he does, because of his profession, or former profession.
Well, it's not so much even anything with that as I'm wanting to say there was like a line about, oh, well, that actually is more useful than it sounded, kind of deal. And it's like, yeah. He read something. Whether it was the manual or it says it in the HUD, that's a whole nother question there, but yeah.
Which, this is the first, and I feel like only time we get like an inside the helmet like look at the rider on a regular basis. Because we did it in Drive like twice, I think, during like Surprise Future, I think.
And we did it a few times in game, but it was all early stuff. Like, we kind of lost that slight touch real early on.
Yeah. Yeah, and the weird thing is, that's going to be a constant for Burst. We are constantly going to be cutting into the helmet to see his face. Which I look at this and go, when did Iron Man come out? Because they did this all the time in Iron Man.
Very true.
Okay, 2008. So that would have been a few years. That would probably be it.
Yeah, that probably would be close enough for them to be like, let's try this.
Yeah, because they do this again in Forza, kind of, except with the Powerdizer. They always cut into the cockpit of the Powerdizer. Which, there's behind-the-scene footage of how they filmed that, and it's literally just like a cardboard like thing behind them and some lighting, and that's it.
I mean, to be fair, if they were trying to imitate what was done as far as with Iron Man or Birth, that makes the most sense since Birth was created from the ground up kind of deal.
Yeah.
it wasn't like O's where it existed for whatever reason. This was actually a modern invention.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that correlation being like, yeah, that's why they wanted to do that.
They managed to push them back. They end up defeating the first one with a combo attack of an O's finisher and a birth finisher. But the second one got away. And Date just says, no, I don't want to work with you when Edgy tries to offers to work together. No, I don't want to. Because I have reasons. Which moves us into episode 18, Destruction Motives in the Eel Whip. We pick up where we left off with Date saying he doesn't like a bit of Edgy's personality. Like he says later, he doesn't like someone who will make themselves cry.
Yeah.
Which is obviously on point for Edgy, so... we get back to the dojo where the girl is talking to a guy there. In fact, and I do not remember any of their names. So that's why I have not named a name for any of these people.
They're important, but not that important.
They're important for these 2 episodes, but they're not important enough for me to really remember their names because they don't get said that often. And that's pretty much our cold open. Coming out of it, Edgy and Ankh ponder on the split of the Yummy and try to figure out like why that is. They more or less land on the layering of desires to have caused this, which feels like a natural like extension of how the Yummies work. We see Date talk to Goto, who's been following him for a while, because he was there at the end of the episode, in the last episode, the beginning of this one. They try to hit it off, but it's awkward as hell. Because Goto just wants to know the kind of man Date is, and it kind of doesn't go anywhere. Which is hilarious, considering how the two get to be later on. That this is their first scene together. I also love how Date is just like, oh, you're from the company. Oh, shit. Like, he tries to be all professional about it. Goto's off to continue running, but he collapses at the Cuscassier because he accidentally crushed his water bottle. So he has no water, and he kept running. And I guess he just wanted to keep running forever. But thankfully, he's saved by Hina and Chiyoko. Back at the dojo, Edgy and Ankh try to get more information from our Kendo girl, who isn't helpful, until Date arrives and more or less spills the beans of, oh, she's jealous that the guy who's her teacher at the dojo is getting married today to a different girl and not her, essentially. So he's kind of she's jealous, but she also hates that jealousy. So essentially, the Yummy is off to go insert himself into the wedding and make sure it's like all WWE weddings, which is terribly and full of destruction, chaos, and the wedding doesn't happen. Some trash Yummies show up at the dojo to delay them, but Date heads out without telling them where the wedding is taking place, so they can't intercept the Yummy. But Edgy ends up just using a Candroid to follow him after he just tries to like get Date to tell him more information about this layering love jealousy thing because he's interested in it, and also he needed a moment to get the Candroid on him. So Date and Edgy end up fighting the Yummy, and Uva, who also arrives to protect his Yummy because Uva wants to do something this week.
Because I have a funny feeling this is going to be the recurring theme. Every few episodes we're going to have one of the main ones decide to be like, nope.
To be fair, it feels like okay, we need to extend the fight into the next episode. How are we going to do that? Oh, just have the Greed show up and actually protect the Yummy for once. Because, it's important for them that Yummy stays protected because it's the source of their cell metals. If they don't protect them, they don't get cell metals.
Okay. Except for that has a flaw in it for the next two-parter. But we'll get to there when we get there.
Yeah.
Because that completely... There's an argument that goes completely against what you just said. For Uva's case, yes. Yes. You're exactly right there. I could see Uva being like, yeah, I'm protecting the Yummy because, yeah, I need what he's getting me.
Yeah. Kazari? No.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Well, it doesn't help that we're at a 5-way situation at the moment in terms of what we're dealing with faction-wise. Because we have Edgy and Unk that are tenuous at best sometimes. We have Uva. We have Kazari. We have Maki kind of with Kazari, but also feels separate, considering he also helped blow up 2 of the other Greeds already. And then we have Kagami, who's more or less also acting on his own. And is helping, but again, is on his own.
Okay.
With his own ideals.
To be fair, while Kagami kind of has his own ideals, he also is playing God right now and kind of making everyone go into their places. Because I feel like he knows what Maki's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And is purposely
I'm sure
letting that roll. And it's a case of he wants to see how all of them will kill each other first.
Yep. Back to the episode. Speaking of Kagami, he's back from vacation and checks in with Maki and gets filled in on birth and whatnot. And even says that, oh, the guy I chose for birth is doing good. Yay! Which, of course, he's the one who chose Date as birth.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you the reason why he chose Date.
Okay.
How do you spell his first name?
I don't think I get it.
D-A-T-E, date.
Ah, yeah, no, okay, yeah.
Birth date.
Yeah.
You see, sometimes, I say Date because that's how it's pronounced in the show, but it's spelled D-A-T-E, as in date. As in, this is a goddamn pun. Fuck off, Toei, you goddamn geniuses with your puns. I guarantee you that is the only reason Kagami wanted him. It's like, wait a minute, some guy with the name Date? Yes, I must have him. Anyway, we see the 2 of them tag team, the Yummy and Uva. O's using the Unagi arms for the first time. So he gets the electrical whips that kind of help the situation, but he's not really doing a whole lot besides hold them off. So Birth can do his super charged up cell burst from the breast cannon. Which,
that's what, like 5 cell medals?
Yeah. But
which
Yummy
makes
Go Boom.
Actually, that makes me wonder. If he pumped enough cell medals into that, could he actually stand a chance against any of the Greeds?
Yeah. But there's also a finality to get to for a little while. Well, Okay, there's two different functionalities of the birth driver we won't get to for a little while. Technically, birth has a final form. I'm putting in quotations because I personally don't count it as a final form because it's as much of a final form as like all dragon is, kind of. Because I feel like all dragon is also nebulous in how it's a proper form, even though it uses the spell ring or the spell side of the wizard driver. But that's my own like thing about it. But with the Emigon, the marriage goes off without a hitch. The girl is happy for them and wants to be better. Date declines once more to work together because they're not working together for a while.
Thus, kind of at the end of these two episodes, kind of put me on the side of I don't want to make a solid decision, but I have a funny feeling I might not really care for Date. And then, of course, the next arc just plays that the other way, and I'm like, okay, he's not that bad. He's just got his own agenda here, and he's not wanting to really drag anyone else into it.
Yeah. And like I said, he has an extremely good reason for wanting that 100 billion yen, which is $10 million, I believe. Or is it $10 million?
No, I think that would be 1 million. Because I think, isn't it 1 to 10? Or 1 to 100, I mean?
It's 1,000 to 10. 1,000 yen to every about $10.
So yeah, 1 to 100. Or 100 to 1, either way, whichever way you're going. So yeah, that would be 1 million then.
Okay, that is like 1 billion yen, or what? Yeah. Anyway, so how'd you feel about these two episodes? Before I confuse myself anymore on fucking money conversions. I can't do money. Money's hard.
Well, I feel like as with all forms, birth felt way overpowered in this arc. But that's just the norm.
Yeah.
Coming out of this one, I didn't really care for Date. Like, I was at the, is he gonna be someone I might like? He's not really feeling like it right now, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like I said, that changes come by the end of the next arc, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I mean, I guess it's as good of an arc as we could possibly get out of that kind of scenario.
Yeah. It feels weird to comment on things because I know where something goes. Like, it's hard for me to comment on Dante's introduction because I'm like, okay, I know why you want 100 million yen. I know why you do the thing you do next in the next two episodes involving Goto. Like, I know why you're this way. Extremely so. So I'm like, it makes sense in retrospect, so it's hard for me to comment on it in a bubble on a first viewing.
I can see that, actually.
Yeah, it's just one of those cases.
I feel like knowing, truthfully, even just me knowing how we go about the next arc, it's one of those, like I said, the next arc kind of got me to where I'm like, okay, he's not that bad. He's just got his own agenda, and he's not taking anyone else's crap with him.
Mm-hmm. Which is say, he has a good reason for doing that.
And I mean, it's one of those, I feel like no one farther than that even. It's like, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Mm-hmm.
But I guess that'll take us to the next two episodes, starting with episode 19, The Red Medal, The Detective in Betrayal. Edgy is running late to work because he woke up late, even though he lives in the same place he works. But okay. But he finds that Goto's working there now because he's finding himself, essentially. And also, he got saved by Hina and Kyoko last episode, so
and
I
he
guess
thought he was dead for a little bit.
Yeah. Which I'm sure he's fine. Wow, I wrote down the wrong name. It should be Sayaka. I don't know why I wrote down Kyoko. No, Sayaka drops by to grab Edgy because Kagami wants him for something. And she comments on Goto working there now. We cut to the cops chasing after an escaped convict that Kazari let loose because Maki said to go let this guy loose. And we find out that also Kazari is taking in more metal, or more of the core metals, to become a vessel. And the two of them are discussing the current events of things, and they're totally moving cars. It's totally moving. There is not a green screen behind them, and this is not the fucking 80s.
Yeah, it's totally moving.
I love how painfully obvious it is that they are just in a car, standing still, as the green screen just runs footage behind them.
It's one of those, you know, I get it. Most vehicle scenes, it is that. I honestly can't think of any staged appearances of vehicles that are actually moving down the road. I'm sure there's probably some, but like most of them are not. They're green screen, but this is painfully obvious.
The one in Megamax is actually them moving in a car. There's a scene early in the movie, and they are actually in a moving car because it's obvious that they are actually moving because it's out somewhere.
Okay, but I'm gonna say this then. How many other instances besides that can you tell?
Honestly, the only time they don't use green screens is with the bikes. If it's a car, it's usually a green screen. Sometimes. Most of the time, actually, unless they need to do something with the car itself. Like here, it's just the two of them
then
talking.
It's more of a stunt car, and you usually can't tell who's in it.
Yeah.
If anyone's in it, actually.
Like here, it's just Kazari, Maki, and his puppet that has his own goddamn seat and seatbelt. Driving down the road, having a normal conversation. We don't need to hook up another car in front of this car and drive it down the road for 20 minutes, and them do their lines over and over on a road we need to get a permit for to do this.
To this I say, they finished their conversation with the car stopped, and they both get out of it. Why couldn't they have just been like in a parking lot or something?
They started in a parking lot.
Yeah, why couldn't we have just stayed there the whole time?
Because Maki needs to go to work.
Except, would we absolutely have to know that? Well, okay, let me put it this way. Do we absolutely know that that's where he was at when they ended that scene? I mean, for all we knew, there could have been time skip.
Yeah. Anyway, Kogami ends up showing Edgy one of Onk's medals and decides to give it to him. And between the extra of the medal that Ankh has and the medal that Kazari has, there's a full red medal combo in play now. If you're wondering, yes, I know where this medal comes from. It also plays into a mystery of this week's episode, so... that's our cold open. Coming out of it, Edgy declines to take the medal because he doesn't want Ankh to leave the cop's body because he'll die. So he decides, no, Kagami, please keep this until a more appropriate time comes. Which, couldn't Ankh just absorb him like the Yummies do, and it'd be fine?
I would think so.
Yeah. We see the convict is running loose, and he is, much like all of Kazari's Yummies, is possessed by it. Some goon, again, I'm not going to drop his name, he's just some goon that is the goon of the convict. Drops by looking for the cop that Ankh has, and Goto is like 3 seconds away from throwing this guy out. We check back in with Maki Rocket to see that Kazari is getting a phone and leaves because Date is hogging the office by literally sleeping in a sleeping bag on a table. Like, there's floor space here, Date. Why are you sleeping in a sleeping bag on the table? Also bird poop, because I guess we needed a poop joke this week. And I believe that's some fairly...
A bunch of poop joke.
Yeah. The goon ends up leaving the Couscousier as Edgy arrives and finds out about the convict. Ankh drags Edgy off because he senses the Yummy, so they're off to fight the Yummy. They fight the guy who's possessed by the Yummy as he attacks the goon, who totally does not have a repaint of the Tora Claws as his weapon. Like, that claw weapon he has, it's literally a repaint of the Tora Claws. Which I just find is hilarious.
I mean, already in the repaint stage.
Well, to be fair, it's just like, oh, we'll just take one of those, like one of the spare ones off the suit and just paint it black real quick and just stick it, just like hold it like this. And we just need it for like an episode. So it's like, I think it's been known for them to, yeah, because they did it for the Kuga suit. Towards the end of Kuga's run, they ended up painting the base Kuga suit black for Amazing Mighty. But they then had to repaint it back red for Decade. Which is why when you look at footage from Kuga and look at footage from Decade, the Kuga suit looks like it has two different shades of red. Like, it's a darker red, I think, in the Decade footage than it is the Kuga footage. Because of the going from red to black to red. Because they didn't scrub the paint correctly, I guess.
Or just tried to paint over it.
That seems entirely likely. So it wouldn't surprise me that they just took a Tora Claw off the suit, painted it black, and then when they were done with it, repainted it back to proper colors. But Edgy tries to work to get the Yummy out of the convict, which doesn't work. So the convict bails after a while, and the goon wants Ankh to protect him, and Ankh just knocks his ass out. And we get their backstory of the cop was on the task force that arrested this guy and protected the goon from getting injured by the convict. So that's why he wants the cops' help. Eiji and Hina end up telling him that he isn't the cop, but he's just somebody else. Meanwhile, that conversation's happening. Unk is getting hassled by Chiyoko again because of his made-up backstory. And then he just in turns hassles Goto, which is just great. I love that it's like, since Goto's not working here, he just has to work where Unk lives. It just gets hassled by him. He just has to take it. So they end up deciding that the group of Eiji, Hina, Unk, and the Goon decide to just head out together as a group to draw out the Yummy, since 3/4 of the people here want to be or are on the Goon's hit list. So if we travel in a group, he's bound to show up at some point and try to murder one of us. Meanwhile, while they're happening, Date aggravates Maki because, yes, essentially hassles him over the puppet, and the puppet ends up getting thrown into the stew of whatever he's cooking at the moment, which is a bit cruel, again, because I know what Maki's backstory is, but still hilarious because fuck Maki. And I assume that's what helped turn you around on Date.
Yeah, that plus what actually kind of goes on between Date and Goto a little later.
Oh, yeah. We do see the Yummy show up, and he separates, showing off that it's a fusion of Kazari Yummy and a Mazul Yummy, essentially a lion and a jellyfish. Yeah, jellyfish. Yeah. And it has properties of the both of them, and it's pretty powerful. It can even spawn goons when it gets damaged. It just spawns jellyfish, which are not good because they shock. Because jellyfishes conduct electricity, don't you know? I love how just jellyfish and media are supposed to conduct electricity when they do not conduct electricity. That is not how jellyfish work. But the goons end up... not the goon. The jellyfish end up distracting Eiji, so the Gummy gets to chase Hina and the goon up to a rooftop. Eiji manages to catch up and tries to counter with the lion head metal, and nope. Countered. Date arrives to help out, but Kazari just shows up and decides, Date, you are not important for these 2 episodes. Get out of here, and literally throws him off the building. And as we'll see later, he's just hanging out on the side of the building the entire fight. Eiji calls for a combo, Ankh tries to throw it to him, and the goon ends up stealing the book and giving it to Kazari, because he is a dick. Eiji's knocked out of his transformation at this point, and can't stop Kazari from taking the other 2 yellow medals he had on him, meaning Kazari is 1 step away from a full revival, and is opening up the book as we end the episode. Kicking off on episode 20, a decoy, the qualification. We see the book is full of cell medals. Big Unk said the medals are hidden, and they're not on him. He even says that Eiji was the one that hid them, which Eiji is just like, no, I didn't. I didn't hide any medals. Unk, what are you doing? And Unk more or less just proposes a trade of Eiji's head, and I guess where he hit the medals, for his medal. And Kazari agrees. But Unk ends up throwing Eiji off the building into the river below. So Kazari has to go find him. But he does steal his medal back off of him, So Unk gets one of his medals back at the cost of throwing Edgy in the river off the top of a building, untransformed from what looks like probably 7 stories. Edgy should be dead. Like, Edgy should be extremely dead by that. So, Kazari's off to give chase after Edgy. Hina's pissed by all of this, but Ankh also reveals that he had the medal on him the whole time, so he's still a massive dick for all of this. Thanks, Ankh. That's our cold open. Coming out of it, Hina decides, fuck you, Ankh, and yoinks the medal from him and just runs away with it. We see the goon leave, and we see that Date has been hanging off the building the whole time. And he just flips onto the building and is ready to fight, and nobody's there. Which makes me go, why did it take him that long to do that? Could have used you about 30 seconds earlier there, Date. Under some bridge, Ankh manages to catch up with Hina, ties her up with some chain, hangs her up over the river to try to get his medal back, and she refuses again. So they're going to be at a stalemate for the rest of the episode for a while. Which, did you love how the Ring of Chains changed its position like several times in between cuts? Because I noticed. Because sometimes it was closer to her elbow, and sometimes it was literally about the shoulders. And then it would go up and down constantly. Anyway. The goon ends up finding Edgy washed up on the riverbank and takes him back to his apartment to, I guess, make up for being a dick. We see Date drop by the Coscaseer, and we get a little bit of a hint of his backstory. Yeah, he's been around a while. He's been to some places, and he even kind of recognizes Edgy in one of the pictures. Ankh is continuing his stalemate with Hina. And we see Goto hang out with Date for a little bit, and they bond over being birthed. And more or less, Date sets him up with the idea starts him on the path to becoming birth by having him learn to control the birth buster, which is the gun, which Date controls perfectly by shooting a bunch of cans, and Goto about throws himself off the building off one shot of it, considering how far it kicked him back. And also, he should probably have a very separated shoulder at that point. Like a dislocated shoulder, probably. Because, hot damn, did that throw him back. But Dazan tells him to work on handling the gun, and maybe just one day he can be birthed. We see the Kazari talk to Maki for a little bit before he just has the Yummy just go out and destroy because, fuck it. Go blow shit up. I don't care. I'll get that medal at some point. I feel like I skipped something in my notes because I remember writing it down. Oh yeah, the Goon and Edgy before we get to that end up bonding over their terrible partners. But Edgy ends up leaving the apartment and gets dressed to go stop the Yummy, even though he's on one good leg at the moment. The other one's injured. And Up frees Hina and tells her to hang on to the medal because he's off to go help because reluctantly he has to work with Edgy. And secretly he likes working with him. So Edgy on one back leg is fighting Yummy. It's not going well, but Date arrives and manages to separate the Yummy and the convict, so he accomplishes one good thing this fight, and he's not going to be able to do anything for the rest of the fight. Koyami, seeing this fight, has Satonaka drop by and deliver the medal that Edgy declined, which makes Ankh upset for like a half second before he's just like, fine, we're even, here's the other medal. So Edgy gets all the medals, goes Tajador, and with his new power of flying and firing feathers, he makes some quick work of the Yummy. But unfortunately, he's exhausted from it because full combo, of course he is. So Ankh just takes the medals back and absorbs them, but he doesn't revive. We get a projection of one of his wings, and that's it. And even he's a bit confused by this. And we're out on that note. So, what'd you think of these two episodes? Tommy? Hello? Hello?
Oh, sorry.
So what'd you think of these two episodes?
Like I said, I feel like these kind of, at least for me, kind of put Date on the path of getting to where I think I could like the character overall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously it's not a set, yes. But I feel like this is at least the good path towards that. Also, I feel like that was a good kind of way of going about introducing Tajador to the whole everything there.
Yep. Yep, it's a nice introduction to one of Edgy's two final forms, in my opinion. Because I'm one of those people that consider both this and Puto Terra as his final forms because of their roles in the show and what they represent within the show.
I can see it in that sense because, like, to be fair, truthfully, none of the combos are anything more than that.
Yeah.
So, I feel it's weird to say, but really, O's kind of doesn't have a final form per se.
Well, considering what he does in O's Wonderful, he can do more work utilizing all of his combos than he can with just utilizing any single one of them. Again, I don't want to spoil that moment.
Which kind of resorts back to the whole fact that that's what O's is.
Yeah.
So if we go on that route, then base form is final form. Just saying.
Yeah, to quote Deshinta, O's is a one-man army in an army of one because of the arsenal he has of.
I believe it.
Yeah, I like Tajador's debut. I like that we also get a hint of, okay, Ankh got his medals back, and it didn't change anything. Wait a minute, why didn't it change anything? That's weird. And I like that even Ankh is like, something should have happened. Why did nothing happen? That's not good. But I also like that we're getting Ankh surprised by greed and Yummy related stuff. As he's going, oh, fuck. I wasn't expecting this. Ah, shit. Yeah, Date has a nice moment with Goto, setting him on the path he's going to be going for the rest of the show. good 2 episodes. Nice introduction to Tajador. We'll see more in the next batch of episodes, I believe. But anything else?
I can't think of anything.
All right. Then next Saturday, because TGSR is being moved to Saturday.
And no, that does not mean that TGS and Rampant Gaming are no longer going to be there. They're just going to be moved to Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, Saturday, we'll be taking a look at the next 4 episodes of OOO 21. Where, oh wow, we'll end on Shishota's debut. Yeah, Tajador I consider a final form, and there's still one more debut after this, which is Shoshota, out of the core 5 forms. But yeah, if you liked our stuff, liked what you hear, we do plenty of video game variety stuff and other podcasts where we talk video game news and stuff. But if you like what you hear, drop us a follow. We'd appreciate it. Tell your friends. Get them in here. We would appreciate it. Our average followers are just a little bit off from being affiliate, and we can do more stuff like run reruns of this show next day. If you missed it live, we will literally rerun the episode like tomorrow. Whatever, like I don't know. When will we run it? In theory,
we would have to kind of figure that out. It would be throughout the day as opposed to at nights.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. I forget what all else we could do with affiliate, but we could do some more stuff if we just had a little bit more on the average viewer. So your view helps us immensely. If you want to be updated on when we go live, check the Twitter at TG Saloon. This week, me continuing to buffer until next week. So it's Bloodstained and Yakuza 0 for another week. Technically another 2 weeks, but nah.
Meh.
But anyway, we will see you then, folks.